He buried his son at sunrise. By noon, he was done being polite about it. His name was Eliab. He was not a weak man. He had survived famine, buried his father with his own hands, worked land that gave nothing back for years and still woke before dawn to try again. He knew grief. He had made his peace with grief. But grief had always taken things he was ready to lose. Not this. Never this. 6 years old. Too small for the grave they had cut. Eliab had stood at the edge of it with his hands at his sides and waited to feel something that made sense, and nothing came, not peace, not understanding, not the quiet surrender the priests always talked about. Just the sound of dirt hitting cloth and the birds that didn't stop singing because birds don't know what graves are. By the time the others went home, he was still standing. By the time the sun rose fully, he was still there. When he finally turned away, something in him had already closed. He was not going to pray again. He lasted 4 hours. 4 hours of walking through a village that looked exactly as it had yesterday, the baker at his stall, the women at the well, the children running past as if the world had not just removed the only thing that mattered. As if the world had not even noticed. As if a 6-year-old boy named Jonah had been subtracted from existence and the sum had come out the same. By the time he reached the empty road, the anger had nowhere left to go but up. "Are you watching this?" A man passing by turned his head. Eliab didn't lower his voice. "Because if you are watching this, then you are either cruel, or you are nothing. And I need to know which one. Because I have been speaking to you my entire life and today I want an answer. Not comfort. Not silence. An answer." The words hung in the air. No thunder. No voice. Just the road and the heat and a dog sleeping in the shadow of a wall. Eliab laughed. Not because it was funny. Because he had nothing left that wasn't fury, and the fury had nowhere to go, and laughing was the only thing between him and the ground. "You are speaking very boldly," a voice said, "for a man who expects to be heard." Eliab turned. The man standing there looked wrong. That was the only word for it, wrong for the moment, wrong for the road, wrong in the way that something is wrong when it arrives exactly when it shouldn't be possible. No robes. No guards. No sign of authority or consequence. Just a man, standing in the dust, looking at Eliab with an expression that was neither offended nor impressed. Just present. Completely, unervingly present. Like he had been standing on this road waiting for exactly this conversation. "Do you expect him to answer?" the man asked. "I expected him not to take my son," Eliab said. "That is not the same thing." Eliab stepped closer. "Then explain it to me. Explain why a child who has done nothing, who has been nothing but 6 years of grace in a world that does not deserve it, is taken, while men who lie and steal wake up every morning without consequence." His voice cracked on the next words and he let it crack. "Explain why I buried my son at sunrise and by noon the world has already forgotten he existed." The man did not answer. He stepped closer instead. Close enough that Eliab could see his eyes. There was something in them that made it difficult to look away. Not wisdom. Not authority. Something that looked, impossibly, like he already knew every word Eliab was about to say and had been carrying them alongside him all morning. "Say his name," the man said. Eliab blinked. What? Say his name. Why? Because you have been speaking about him for 10 minutes, the man said quietly, and you have not said his name once. You are already turning him into a question. He was not a question. Eliab's jaw locked. Then, slowly forcing it up through his chest like something heavy, Jonah. The word broke in the middle. He had said it that morning. At the grave. Clearly, without flinching. He had thought he was past the breaking part. He was not past the breaking part. Jonah, he said again. The man nodded. Said nothing. Waited. He liked the river, Eliab said. The words came before he could stop them. He was afraid of it at first. Wouldn't go near it. Then one day he just walked in fully clothed, didn't even look back to see if I was watching. His voice collapsed. I was watching. The man sat down in the dust. Not on a wall. Not at a distance. In the dust of the road, as if sitting in dirt beside a grieving man was the most natural thing in the world. He looked up at Eliab and said, Tell me more. Eliab sat down beside him. He talked about small things. The way Jonah mispronounced certain words and never corrected himself because he liked his version better. The way he woke before dawn and sat outside to watch the sunrise, said the sun came faster if you watched it. The way he laughed loud, sudden, without asking permission, the laugh of someone who had never been told to be quieter. Eliab talked until the words ran out. Until there was nothing left. Until the silence came back. He is still gone, Eliab said. Yes. I still don't understand why. No. Then what did any of this change? The man was quiet for a moment. Then, you said the world had already forgotten him. Eliab swallowed. Yes. The man shook his head. I heard his name, he said. I heard about the river. The sunrise. The laugh. He held Eliab's gaze. Jonah existed. I am a witness to it. And that cannot be taken back. Eliab stared at him. The anger was still there. The grief was still there. But underneath them, something had shifted. Not relief. Not understanding. Something smaller and more durable than either of those things. The knowledge that one person, this stranger in the dust, now carried his son's name. Had heard about the river. Would remember the laugh. You can't give him back, Eliab said. No, you can't explain why. No. Eliab looked at his hands. Then what kind of God allows this? The man was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, not as a sermon, not as a comfort, but as a man speaking the truest thing he knows, the kind who sits in the dust with you when you have no more polite words left. The kind who does not flinch when you scream at him. The kind. He paused. The kind who was here before you turned around. Eliab went very still. He thought about the timing of it. The empty road. The exact moment the voice had come, not before the anger, not after it had passed, but in the center of it, in the ugliest and most honest moment. He looked at the man beside him. Who are you? He said. The man looked back at him with those eyes, the eyes that had been carrying the weight of the morning since before Eliab arrived. Someone, he said simply, who heard. They sat there until the light changed. People passed. Some looked. Most didn't. The world kept moving the way the world always does, indifferent and continuous and breathtaking in its cruelty. But when Eliab finally stood and turned toward home, something was different. Not outside. Inside. The silence was still there. It would always be there, that particular silence, shaped exactly like a 6-year-old boy who walked into a river without looking back. But it was not empty anymore. Someone had sat in it with him. Someone had said the name. They will tell stories about the miracles. The blind who see. The dead who walk. The water that becomes wine. They will not tell the story of a man screaming at God on an empty road, and God sitting down in the dirt to listen. But I will tell you this, Eliab went home that day with nothing fixed, nothing returned, nothing explained. And still he went home. That was the miracle. That after all of it, a broken man still had somewhere to go.